I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
What's good, everybody? I'm Justin Miller, owner of Legends of Athletics, and we're back with another episode. If you like what we're doing, like the content, like the feel, the vibes, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and share it with somebody. So a lot of times in sports performance, you may get an athlete, you may get a parent that says, like, what do these charts, what do these times mean? And in this video, I want to take the time to break that down for you guys so that you can understand it a little bit better. Before I was a performance coach, I started off in education. Actually, my degree in kinesiology is from the College of Education. So I'm an educator first, and so I want to make sure to break everything down to layman's terms and break things down so everybody can easily digest it as much as possible, all right? So before we jump in, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe again. Like I said, share it with somebody, tell somebody to tell somebody. So as I get ready to pull this chart up, we got a lot of stuff going on in sports today. Also in the world in general. We got Kendrick Lamar and Drake beefing. That's great. That's current news. It's keeping us in the know, keeping us updated. Kendrick may drop while we're doing this video. So if y'all see me clock it out, y'all know what time it is. Also, we got Anthony Edwards and SGA going off in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards, to me, is stepping into his own. He's welcoming the big stage, and man, it's great to see. I love seeing the new athletes and young talent step up. I think that's kind of what we're getting with like LeBron and all those guys. They're just getting older, and so they're starting to phase out. I have not watched a lot of playoffs this year, but those guys are just getting older and starting to phase out, and so you know it is. Let's get to the topic at hand. Why all of you are here? So I want to start off with this chart. This is the first chart that I shared on my Instagram. It's the 0 to 10 yard chart. We do 0 yard to 10 yard start times, and we do it with the hand time. And so these are great, just a great start to see where your athletes are and kind of get a predicted 40-yard time and also see how great they are at accelerating. I was talking to a coach last week, and one thing that we talked about is athletes and the differences in speed. You can get two athletes that have dramatically different numbers and they run the exact same 40 time. You may have an athlete that runs a 2-second 0 to 20 yard 40 and an athlete that runs a 1.7 second 0 to 20 yard 40 yard dash, and at the end of it they both run like a 4.8. And that's me guessing off the top of my head. I don't have in my material here to predict that accurately, so don't take me to the stakes if I'm a little off on that. But you can have those two things, and both of those things can be true. But what those things show us is if that athlete is a great accelerator out of the blocks versus if that athlete is a late accelerator. So after about 10 to 20 yards, they pick up some steam and they start eating up ground pretty quick. Most of the time, for most kids that you just see off the street, they're going to be late accelerators, meaning they don't technically work on the acceleration phase a lot. But once they get into the vertical top end speed of their sprint, that's when they start to pick up a lot of speed. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comment section. So 0 to 10 yard starts, the reason I like to use them, I have become a fan of them, is because one, it lets me know where our 0 step is. So 0 step is when we're overcoming inertia. So we're going from a dead stop and then we're getting ourselves into locomotion, which is movement. And then 2, when we're just going and it allows me to see the bigger picture. Football, for instance, is a sport that's played within 10 yards. So if we're not able to accelerate or get a lot of ground within 10 yards, well, there are not that many 20-yard, 30-yard, 40-yard plays. You get where I'm going. So that's why I love using a 0 to 10-yard start. For my deviation, I usually like to tell my athletes to add 0.8 to 0.10 seconds, just depending on how I felt that day. We add 0.8 to 0.10 seconds, usually 0.08 seconds to clean it up, 0.08 seconds to the end of our start times. And so that allows us to see an accurate depiction. And if we were on the laser, it wouldn't be much difference. It's what I've come to find out. So looking at this chart, let's start with all the athletes. So usually within 1 to 3 days, we'll get a baseline start time. Usually probably within 2 days, 3 days, if we just have like within that first 2 days, we have a lot of stuff going on. That third day for sure, we're going to get that baseline start time. And so usually when I do a baseline time, on a normal occurrence, most kids are going to be between that 1.8, 1.9 range to 2+ seconds to get 10 yards. And that may sound crazy, but that's just, running is a skill. You have to learn the skill. And so that's usually about normal. So a lot of our kids ran within that time. To give you more of an accurate depiction, let me go away from the chart and look at what I have going. So if y'all see me looking at, I'm looking at notes and I'm looking at my computer at the same time. So for a lot of our kids, the fastest one that we had was 1.6, 1.66, and one of our slower ones was like a 2.2 seconds. And so that was a lot of our baseline times whenever we started, and of course we went from there. So this group that I'm showing you guys, I got started with them. It was February, I want to say February 13th. They ended up going to spring break March 13th. So we had about 4 weeks, roughly 4 weeks, work exercising twice a week. We had four weeks of training, and so we made some progress. I did not time them before they went off to spring break. I was kind of back and forth on that, but I ultimately decided not to time them before going to spring break because we end up having to mesh 2 of our days together. So instead of having that 24 hours of rest, we end up having 2 days back to back that we worked out. And so I just didn't feel that it was a big need, or I was missing a lot by not timing them there. We did time 2 days following spring break. We timed whenever they got back to school, and this is where you can see on this purple line where we had some increases in our times, and our numbers spiked. And on average, our kids at that time had about a 0.10 tenths of a second increase in their time. This, for me, in my notes, I put the time increase just came from deconditioning and lack of consistency. And so we on the learning curve here, and being on that learning curve, there are phases of learning, right? So I told you guys at the beginning of this video that I'm an educator first, and so I want to educate you guys on the phase of learning the skill. Whenever we're learning something, learning a skill. There we go. Whenever we're learning something, first we go through unconsciously unskilled, so we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we're doing right. We don't know what we're doing wrong. Secondly, we go through consciously and unskilled. So this is when I'm giving the athletes cues. They remember the cues that I say, but they don't really remember how to implement those cues. And so they may have some problems with consistently remembering foot strike, body placement, body positioning, foot positioning, knee drive, things like that. They may know what I'm saying, but they may not know how to execute that movement to the highest ability. And then thirdly, we get to the conscious skill level. This is where we kind of know what we're doing. And then we're aware of how to correct that. And then the last stage of that is unconsciously skilled. So for me, we are at stage 4 right now. For a lot of these kids, in the aspect of acceleration training, we're about stage 4 for this off season of what our goals were. We're at stage 4. And so whenever we came back from school, like I said, the time to increase by 0.10 tenths of a second. And so that's what we had with that. After that, this is where I say the stage 3 came in, because at the end of month 2, so at the end of our 60 days, we got back to a point to where we were above, or had more students below than above their baseline testing scores. And so let me find that in my chart. Give me 1 second. So whenever we came back at the end of the 60 days, this is what we had, right? So our baseline at the end of 60 days, we were back. Most of our kids were below their baseline by 0.05 to a tenth of a second on average. Keyword is on average there. And I cannot show you guys because of the way I have this stuff in my the way I have it in my my Excel sheet. I cannot show it to you just because of I have names on it, so I can't, because of HIPAA, I can't do that. So that's where we are with that. What does this tell us? Well, consistent training is one of the biggest things. One, that's going to be our biggest separator as far as like gaining success. 2, it's not uncommon to be a little bit slower before you have that massive drop and get a lot faster. That's just the learning curve, the learning stage of I know what I'm doing wrong, and you may be overthinking it, which may cause you to be a step slower. So that's not uncommon. And then thirdly, we just have to fight through that plateau, trust our training, believe in what we're doing, and then everything's going to pay off. We had a couple of guys that were not very fast to start. And when I say not very fast, like we're talking about running 40s and we're at 6+ seconds. I will say that we are today, everybody is below, well below that 6-second mark within a 40-yard dash. And so those things are the things that we're doing correctly. And so I wanted to make this video. I hope that's very clear and concise. I'm looking at my timer. I'm at 10 minutes. I wanted to make it at 10, but we're around 11 minutes. So I'm a little bit longer than what I wanted to be. But I wanted to show you guys in this video what that graph is telling us, one. And two, I wanted to show you the trajectory or what you can expect from speed training. In 30 days, you can get faster, but it's not going to be anything that's permanent. After 60 days, you're looking at things that are more permanent. And so the deviations in time are less drastic. And secondly, you're able to sustain that power output and know the technique a little bit better. Of course, you would like to get a year under your belt or years under your belt to get that sustainability that's so concrete is almost to be unbroken. But if you want that sustainability, I would say 60 in the off season, 60 to 90 days is usually your sweet spot of training, and then you're in that correct position to be at a more sustainable position. But if you get slower with a trainer, that does not necessarily mean that he or she is doing the wrong thing. That just may mean that you're actually learning. And so I would say give it another I'll probably say 6 weeks maximum, 6 weeks to 8 weeks. If you can afford the 8 weeks, go 8, but 6 weeks at least, and then that'll let you know where you are in training. Now, it's not uncommon to get slower with speed coaches, which makes me crazy to you, but it's not uncommon. If you're getting slower and slower and slower on off season, but you're getting stronger and stronger, bigger and bigger, well, you got to look at the whole program and ask yourself, like legitimately ask yourself, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Is your body able to handle what you're putting, the demand you're putting on it, and then kind of adjust from there, adapt and adjust from there, and things like that. But we're gonna get deeper into this stuff. I'm more of a sciencey person, and so I do like to give you guys that side of me, especially with these last two videos. I feel like those have been more in my wheelhouse, and so I'm a lot more comfortable in these spaces. But I just want you guys to have fun and learn something with the content that we're putting out and that we're producing. And so I plan to go crazy on YouTube and all social media the next couple of days, next months, next weeks. You don't even know. I ain't gonna tell y'all. But anyway, if you like the content, again, don't forget to like, subscribe. I appreciate everybody. Appreciate those new subscribers. You guys are great. And as always, be legendary.